Stand at the back of your mat with your hands in Anjali Mudra. Lift and fan out your toes, placing them evenly on the floor. Lift your arches, lift up through your inner thighs, engaging your kneecaps, pressing your thighs back, lifting up through your pelvic floor muscles as your tailbone drops, and draw the energy into your solar plexus, puffing up the mid-back as you actively draw your shoulders away from the ears. Lovely long neck. Lengthen up through the crown of the head as if your head is floating as you press down through the feet. Then stepping your feet hip distance apart, support your head and neck as you lift the top chest up towards the ceiling. So reaching the sternum upwards, stretching upwards as you draw your belly in. You'll notice my knees are bent here. I'm doing this more in a Qigong style, so it's less of a back bend and more of a very controlled release. So supporting the head and neck as we come back to standing. Tuck your chin, rolling down through your spine, one vertebra at a time, and then allow the tension to drain off the head at the bottom. Pressing through the balls of the feet, restack your vertebra one at a time. Chin tucks, repeating, rolling down as if you're peeling your vertebra off an imaginary wall, and pause anywhere to allow the spine to open, to release the tension. So with this rounding, release the tension, make sure it feels good. And hips move towards the groins at the bottom. Feel free to bring your hands on your thighs, it's all good. And then press through the balls of the feet again, your tailbone tucks, and come up slowly. So we're pausing wherever your spine needs to open and release, creating spaciousness. Hands behind the head again, lift the sternum. Really draw your belly in. Maybe we release one arm and then the other. But there's this big stretch in the front line of the body. The back is squeezing. It feels really good. Releasing the other hand now, optional. And then dropping the hands down, rolling back down through your spine. Really releasing the hips at the bottom. Your hands can be anywhere, but think of lifting the sit bones up so you can play around with bending and slightly straightening the legs until you walk your hands out into your Adho Mukha Svanasana, your downward facing dog. Stretch your sternum forward and press through the hands to lift the armpits away from the floor. Have a play around with releasing any tension around the knees and feet before rippling forward into your full or half plank. Feel free to lower your knees if you need to as you rock forward and back. It's all good. So we're engaging our abdominal muscles with that slight rounding. And back to your down dog, sending your sit bones back and up. Keep breathing here. So notice if you're holding the breath. And then rippling forward into full or half plank again. And salsa hips, rocking your hips from side to side. As you lift your navel up. As you invert that imaginary hammock, so lift an imaginary hammock up into your body, your pelvic floor muscles. As if there's this hammock between your legs. The beginning of our deep core muscles. And then send the energy back. Just be mindful of your shoulders. I always teach that powerful down dog because for me, shoulder strength really important. And then a circle for your hip in one direction and then change directions with that hip circle. Open the knee, stretching the hip flexor, releasing the hip flexor. Extend the leg back to the sky and center tiger curl. Pause. Step that right foot up to the right thumb. Feel free to do your left foot, so if that's easier for you. And then bring your leg into a square shape as you lift the top chest up towards the ceiling and then rounding through the spine. So your buttocks is directly over the back knee as we cat-cow almost. We're doing that with the inhalation now, lifting, and exhale, rounding. You're going to feel a really strong stretch down the front thigh. Inhale, lift the top chest, just draw your navel in. And then exhale, rounding. Do you feel that stretch and release of the back thigh? Step the front foot forward and find your low lunge and your back bend like supported crescent moon lunge. So supporting the head and neck. Hands to the floor. And have a little rock and roll here. Hands on the inside of the foot. Then reach back with your right arm to take hold of the left foot. Releasing your quadricep. This is optional. Finding your lunge, lifting the back kneecap off the floor, optional, and your lunge twist. Keep that hip low, that's where the challenge is. Keep the back thigh lifting to the sky. Hand to the floor. Step back into your plank, and I'm doing a fist plank. You can lower your knees, you can do a regular plank, but engage your abdominal muscles. And again, keep exhaling the tension. I'm lifting one leg and then the other. So make sure your upper back is in line with the shoulder blades, whatever variation you're doing, and make it controlled. Try not to push through when your muscles aren't strong enough. So protect your joints. Inhale, send your sit bones back. Exhale, unfurl, rounding through the spine. 1 to 3 chaturangas. I'm doing mine from the knees so that I can keep my upper back in line with the shoulder blades. Inhale, lengthen. Strangely, it's easier for me to do a full chaturanga and then 1 to 3 chaturangas again as we unfurl. But I'm probably doing it much better when I do the half variation, and that's why I do it. Inhale, lengthen. Send the sit bones back and then rounding unfurl. 1 to 3 chaturanga. Keep your elbows hugging the sides of the body. You can't bring them in too much. Just know that. Inhale, lengthen. So often we think they're in, and then we might look at a video or to the teacher, they might not be in, right? And then 1 chaturanga. Up dog. Inhale, stretch the front line of the body. Exhale. Coming back. And then unfurling again, and half up dog. So now this is more of a stretch. Exhale, the belly lifts. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, rounding through the spine. And on the inhalation, half up dog, knees are on the floor. Press the floor away with your hands. Optional, lift the knees. In your Urdhva Mukha Savasana, your up dog, lower your chest to the floor now, hands under shoulders, lift the top chest, and maybe you press into the hands, but use your back strength, belly in, ribs draw down towards the hips. I like that Pilates cue for this swan prep pose. In Pilates, same as yoga cobra. Inhale, lift the top chest. Optional, lift the knees. So bow pose without using the hands, so strengthening our back first. And now we have an option of taking hold of the feet, but knees are in and thighs are lengthening away. Make sure there's no sensation in the knees as you lift the top chest, step 1. And lift the knees, step 2. Make sure it's strength building. So draw your navel in, draw your head back so your neck is lovely and long. Rock forward and back if you want. You're releasing around those shoulders. Should feel so nice here. And then lower it to the floor again. Hands under shoulders. Tuck your toes, belly squeezes. And we press back into a down dog. Exhale the tension. So inhaling and exhaling as we revolve our down dog. You can take hold of your ankle or hand in the center of the mat and other side. So we're finding a twist and a release down the side of the leg here. Exhale the tension, make it feel really good. Down dog, breathe. Then walking hands back to feet. Really focus on releasing tension from your hips as you, at the beginning, always in a forward fold. Now we're slowly unfurling to stand, and we're focusing on bringing spaciousness into the spine again where it needs your attention. Now knee towards the chest and rounding the spine, trying to lift the leg from the action of rounding through the low back. So using our deeper core muscle, I really press the floor away with that foot before I lift it. Now hip circles. So taking care of our hips, drawing a circle in the hip joint, releasing any tension. So that might look different for you. Tension release. Keep breathing. Try not to hold the breath. So at the very least, breathe evenly, but ideally in our practice, in and out through the nostrils, not always possible in this practice. Knee to the floor, stretch your thigh, so we're stretching our quadricep, press your hips forward, and then other side. Stand tall. Try not to back bend to release the thigh. And then a nice circle for your shoulders and a nice circle in the opposite direction. Do that again. Find the squeeze around your shoulder blades. And now push kicks. So thinking again of the leg is lifting through a perhaps imperceptible rounding of the spine this time, but the same action of making the leg feel light. So our stronger muscles are doing the work. Push the floor away with your supporting foot, lift the knee, and then unfurl the leg from there, pressing through the heel, leaning back a little bit. Now you might have to blow the tension out through your mouth on the exhalation here to keep the breath flowing. And we do that in Pilates in a way. We blow the tension out through the mouth and we inhale through the nostrils. Sure, if you can do yoga breathing in and out through the nostrils, keep going. But if you're holding the breath, that focus on blowing the tension out through the mouth really helps. Back to the back of your mat. And then shaking the tree, Qigong style. Releasing the tension from the body. I really like this for my knees as well. Think of releasing the tension from my knees as well as lifting the energy up. Hip circles now. So rolling on the ball of the foot. And then draw that circle in the opposite direction. So change direction with the hip circle and the other side. So drawing a nice big circle in your hip joint. And then changing direction with that circle. Releasing our hips a little bit, our knees, a little massage for the foot. And then shake out your feet. Shake out the tree again. And think of allowing the tension to release downwards. Hands behind your head are controlled back bend. Support the head and neck. Releasing one arm and the other as you draw your belly in. Maybe you back bend a little bit more, but it's all very controlled if you're back bending. You can bring your hands on your low back, step 2, or thighs, step 3. It's like your buttocks is flattening down towards the floor as you back bend. So we're stretching the front line of the body and squeezing the back of the body. Stack your vertebrae to come back up to stand. Be mindful with back bends. We don't do them all the time in our daily lives. Obviously, if you practice yoga, you do them all the time. But rolling down through the spine, one vertebra at a time now, release your hips. Maybe you stretch your mat between your feet, releasing down the sides of the legs as well. Lifting the sit bones up. Have a little play around with releasing the tension there. Enjoy that. Salamba Uttanasana, take hold of the elbows. They can go anywhere, including on your thighs if you need to. You can have your knees bent or straight, but allow the tension to melt off the head. So it's like water flowing down the spine and off your head. Press actively down through your feet. Lift up through your sit bones. And now walking our hands back into down dog. Press your thighs back. Unfurling into our fuller half plank, you'll notice my feet are a little further apart for shoulder taps. Can you squeeze your inner thighs together to make your abdominal muscles fire up? Keep tapping those shoulders, keeping the low body steady. And then elbows to the floor, forearm plank. You can lower your knees, it's all good, but get that slight rounding. This is the type I usually always teach, this ugly plank and salsa hips. It's not ugly, right? But it is slightly rounded. Lowering one hip and then the other hip down towards the floor. Exhale the tension. And then press back into your down dog. Breathe. Allow the top chest to release as you draw that circle with the opposite leg and then change the direction with the hip circle. That feels so good for me. Open the top hip, so bend the knee. Extend the leg, tiger curl, rounding. Step that left foot, well, it's my left foot, to my left thumb. Bring the foot back to make a square shape with the legs. Inhale, the top chest lifts. We pause. Draw that belly in. Really support the head and neck. How does your spine feel? Hopefully supported. Then round. It's like your navel is drawing inwards, like some sort of friendly punch is directed at your belly. Really draw it away. And inhale, now moving with the breath. We concave. And exhale, we round. Repeat. Now, although we concave, we're lifting the top chest, the low back stays neutral. So that's the control of a back bend. Exhale, we round. And inhale, we lift the top chest. That's the protection and support. The drawing of the hip points in. Repeating that rounding here. So you get an added extra on this side. And then stepping the front foot forward, lift the top chest, our crescent moon lunge, but supporting the head and neck. So try not to allow the head to drop back. Is there length in the neck? Hands to the floor on the inside of the leg, open the hip, have your little wiggle. And optional, take hold of the back foot. So the left hand takes hold of the right foot. It's a quadricep release, which is good for stress relief. Now, high lunge with our hands on the floor and find your twist. Your back knee can be on the floor. If it's lifted, press the thigh up to the sky. You'll see I'm shuffling my toes under my heel, so further back. Fist to the floor. This is the option, and it's a repeated option. Walking forward and back, your knees can be on the floor, obviously, and the leg lifts. So keep your back from concaving. That's really important for your spine, but it's also how your glutes get the work. So the back stays neutral as you lift one leg and the other. That's what will give you the glute squeeze. Inhale from down dog or from tabletop, chaturanga, up dog on the inhalation, taking a little pause there, and then come back to the center, lift one leg, pause, and then the other. Try get rid of the back bend before you do that. Almost, right? It is a back bend. But elbows under shoulders, so I mean it's controlled. Now we're rounding up through the spine, ugly plank practice. And then lower back down, one vertebra at a time. Think of tucking your tailbone and rounding the low back first as you lift on the inhalation. We're pausing, breathe freely. And then lower on the exhalation. Let's repeat that. Press down through the elbows here to round through the upper back. Slight tuck of the chin. And then lowering back down. Hands under shoulders again, belly squeezes. Up dog. Really enjoy that stretch for the front line of the body. And then down dog. Create space between your fingers here. So like your knuckles are stretching. Revolve down dog, hand to the center of the mat or taking hold of your opposite ankle. Make everything feel like a release as we swap sides. So we're releasing down the side of that leg we're revolving towards. Hand back to the to down dog before walking your hands back into your forward fold, your Uttanasana. Feet together is an option. As you bend the knees, tuck your tailbone and slowly unfurl, pausing where you need to release the tension in the spine. This is both Qigong and Pilates, actually, this unfurl, and I actually practiced it in yoga as well. It was probably, I'd say, taken from Qigong, the yoga teacher that taught me that. Now, hands out, tuck the tailbone under, and finding your horse stance or your goddess pose. Your toes can be turned out here, but I'm tucking my tailbone under, really like martial arts Mabu. They might have the feet more facing forward in that. Coming to stand, shaking out your legs, and coming right back into it. Try and keep your tailbone low. It is a big challenge for the thighs here and your glutes. The back is actually slightly rounded, upper back. Tailbone tucks, almost like a slight C shape of the spine. Breathe. Nothing is important enough to hold the breath. Come to stand. Shake out the legs. Now I'm turning my toes out more, coming back into that squatting shape and lifting one heel and then the other. Stay low if you can. I know your thighs are probably burning here. Relax the top chest, so we're meeting the challenge with grace. Come back up to stand. Again, tailbone tucks as you come back into it. Lift one heel and then the other again, pressing through the supporting foot. Really charging up your glutes and your thighs here. Come to stand. Bring the feet back. Shake out your feet a little bit. And upper body back bend. You'll notice I always bend my knees here. Inhale, lift the top chest. You can bring your hands on your buttocks, flatten it down. Or walk your hands down the back of your thighs. You choose your option, enjoy it. I'm reaching one arm back towards the couch. And then the other, I'm coming out. And I'll repeat it now. Try and keep your shoulders away from the ears. So in your back bend, whatever variation you're doing, maybe you're reaching one arm back with one hand supporting the head, or like I'm doing, reaching towards the couch. Slowly coming out. Shaking your feet out. Side kick prep. So squeezing into the side of the glute. Lifting your hip, lifting the knee, stepping to the other side, and repeating. Try and keep your foot flexed. like you're squeezing a ball between your calf and your thigh. That will keep your glute on. And press down through the supporting leg, the supporting foot. You'll notice the supporting foot swivels sidewards. Keep going, keep breathing. This should feel really nice for the side of your hip. We lean to the side a little bit. It's preparation for side kick. If you do martial arts, feel free to just do side kicks. This is more for fitness and strength. And then coming back to the back of your mat, shaking out the tree. Releasing the tension from your shoulders, your elbows. I'm just fixing my mat here. It drove me a little crackers. Sometimes our yoga practice is about our mat, right? Staying calm when our mat is sliding around the place. So rolling back down through the spine, one vertebra at a time. Release the tension. How's your top chest doing? Is it holding tension? Then I'm bringing my feet together for my Uttanasana. You choose what option suits you, for your low back in particular. And Salamba Uttanasana, take hold of your elbows. So it's like adding a weight, so make sure that your back feels good, with your hands on the floor and your thighs before you add weight to it. Straight legs is not for everyone. I practice with bent knees for 10 years because my hamstrings used to be so tight from cycling. I did a lot of cycling and walking and activities that strengthened my hamstrings. So it actually really worked for me to cajole rather than force my hamstrings. It didn't work, forcing them. So just bearing that in mind, walking your hands out into down dog. And it was only when I began to cajole that my hamstrings began to release and I looked like I did yoga. So draw that circle for your hip and then draw it in the opposite direction. Obviously, there's not a look to yoga, right? Leg extension. But for people maybe who don't practice, perhaps they think that's what it's all about. So tiger curl, inhale, thigh to the sky. And then exhale, cross-body tiger curl rounding. Inhale, thigh to the sky. Exhale, outer body tiger curl. Again, find the rounding. I love this sequence so much at the moment. Step that foot up to your thumb. Extend your legs up to the, your hands, Kali Mudra up to the sky. High lunge. I'm playing around with a little movement here. Can you squeeze your triceps together? Can you draw your shoulders away from the ears? So the muscles underneath the shoulder blades drawing down towards the buttocks. Relax your face, your jaw. And then hands back to prayer. Step the back foot in. I might step back again just to be in shot, but we bend the back knee, lunge, and then we kick. Now from here, you can bring the knee all the way to the floor if you want. I do that on the other side. But the same action of imagine that as you kick, there's a very slight rounding of the spine. So the hip points move in towards the body. It's imperceptible. So the right muscles fire up to lift that leg. Again, the knee unfurls on the exhalation, and then the foot. You can be really low here. You can keep your lunge high, but get that glute squeeze. And then warming up your hamstrings with those kicks. So an active warm up for your hamstrings. Really working the thigh and glute as well. It's important for standing poses. Then back heel comes to the floor for our Virabhadrasana 1 and warm up. Your back calf is going to get a strong stretch, your back foot, your Achilles tendons. So warm up for you as you hinge forward, working the glute, and then back upright. Repeat that. On the exhalation, we hinge forward. and then back upright. Think your way through this. Are you firing up the glute? So how can you press through the feet? How much can you lean forward with the glute still working? And then come back up to stand. Straighten the leg, rebend, Kali Mudra again. Looking upwards, stretching the front line of the body, releasing the back thigh. Breathing. Keep breathing in and out through the nostrils. Hands to the heart. On the big toe side of the foot, lowering the back knee and having a little wiggle again before coming into your lizard pose. You can bring your elbows towards the floor, squeeze the knee in towards the shoulder, whatever suits you to release the side of that hip and the back thigh. Now half split. So we're going to dig through that front heel like crazy. Depending on your leg length, you might have to scoot the foot forward. Draw your right sit bone back. Maybe a forward fold. But can you feel the release in the hamstring and down the side of the leg? Dig through the heel till it feels like it kind of tightens but also releases your hamstring. So it'll activate. With this, it's because the heel is pressing into the floor. It's actually a stretching technique. We're kind of tricking the stretch reflex with that. Now step back into your plank option and of course option to lift the leg with our fist plank or whatever plank you're doing. Belly squeezes. And mixing up Kung Fu really with Pilates, so that Pilates leg lifts with the spine long. And then down dog. Ripple forward into your fuller half plank. Upper back in line with the shoulder blades. Lift one leg, your right leg if that's possible. Come to the floor, inhale. Fuller half up dog. Lift your leg, breathe freely, your right leg. And then lift the left leg. Tuck your toes, belly squeezes. No worries if you can't do that at the beginning. Don't give up. It's great when you can't do something in a practice. You've something to learn. So if you can't do it, no worries, come back to the video. Now we lower our elbows to the floor and press up. You might have to lift up through one elbow and then the other, as I'm demoing here. But whatever option, get that squeeze around your shoulder blades to lift your elbows off the floor. So we're strengthening the upper back, strengthening those muscles around the shoulder blades. Be mindful. Make any adjustments you need to. That subtle balance between listening to the body, yet continuing to meet the challenge. So, polar bear push-ups. So what option is for you, if any? Maybe you bend the elbows as you come into your dolphin plank, elbows to the floor. So dolphin pose. You'll notice I'm bending the knees. I'm going to try and get my buttocks as close over the shoulders as possible as I lift and pulse one leg. Notice I'm lifting the back foot slightly. So just teaching how you would ultimately press up into a Pincha Mayurasana from the floor, a peacock pose or a forearm balance. You know, at the wall, you'd do that next option, but not today. Just strength building. Down dog. Breathe. Walk your hands back to your feet. Forward fold. Feet together is the option. Unfurl. One vertebra at a time to stand. Hip circles again. Really enjoy that. Nice squeeze. Getting a squeeze for the muscles is just awesome. Really healthy for the body. And I think of most things in yoga as getting a squeeze for the tissue, whether it be a stretch or an activation. Back to the back of your mat. Take hold of your right foot. Drop the thigh and knee down, so stretch it down. Option 1, without, release the hand, option 1, and we come into dancer using our hamstring and glute strength without holding the foot. It doesn't need as much flexibility, but perhaps it works the strength more. Now we have an option to take hold of the foot if you have that flexibility, and you tip forward, aiming to keep the hips level. So we get a quadricep stretch again in our energizing. You can keep the supporting leg bent if you'd like for more glute squeeze. Ultimately, in the pose, you generally straighten it, but you'd make sure. So as we swap sides here, left knee and thigh reaches down. You just always make sure the glute is on. Option 1, we release the hand and we do this pose, Natarajasana, using our strength, building hamstring strength. So tipping forward. Then we have an option 2 of taking hold of the foot, which is harder, which is easier, I don't know. Probably depends on you. And then press the foot back into the hand like bow pose to open around the shoulder. That will feel really nice for the front line of the body. Release that foot, shake out your legs, have a little shake of the tree to release any excess tension. So bouncing from the balls of your feet, this is great to lift the energy up through the body too. Coming back into your either Mabu or goddess pose. But now we're leaning forward, hinging at the hips, sending the energy back through the glutes, and don't come all the way up to stand. So we're targeting the glutes very strongly here. You can bring your hands to the floor and make it a deeper squat as you tip forward and squat. So you're sending the buttocks back, you're bending the knees, and try not to come fully out. So try and keep the knees bent. Now this will really get the burn in your muscles going. So it will really strengthen your muscles after they recover. Come back to stand now, toes facing outwards. Hands into Anjali Mudra. Find your, sometimes it's called thunderbolt pose or goddess pose, more usual. Or a variation of Mabu. Feel free to do Mabu, but get your buttocks down. Come to stand, repeat that. Buttocks in line with your knees. Lovely long spine. You can think of tucking the tailbone under or more length in goddess pose. Come to stand one more time. I know it's challenging, right? Breathe. I'm lifting one heel and then the other now. Keeping buttocks in line with the knees, if possible, coming to stand. Squatting back down. Allow the top chest to release the tension. I'm lifting both my heels a little. Lift them a lot if you can. And then come to stand. That's hard, right? Challenging in a good way. Shake out the feet. My feet are together, you'll notice again. As we roll back down through the spine, one vertebra at a time. This is just an added Uttanasana here, so elbows anywhere. Allow the sit bones to lift up. So we're gradually limbering up those hamstrings. So we're releasing the tension from the glutes, allow them to lift. Allow the calves to stretch down and up. And then come all the way back up slowly, restacking the vertebrae. And side kick practice. Either you go for the option 1 and you just lift your knee and your hip, or you practice side kick. Now again, if you do martial arts, just go for loads of them. Or doing it for muscular strength and fitness purposes, maybe you slow it down a little bit like I'm doing at the moment, so that I can lift my hip as high as possible. Because I want to build some strength there that when I kick, my hip stays high. I can extend the leg upwards. Now I can do them faster, but what I'm noticing as I'm learning martial arts is that slowing them down helps me keep the hip high, and then hopefully I'll build some muscular strength there and I'll be able to do it fast. Whatever option you're doing, it's going to build strength in the side of the glute. And that is great for protecting your hip joints. Coming back to the back of the mat, feet together, rolling back down through your spine, one vertebra at a time. Ooh, lovely release. I can feel what it feels like just watching the video here. Just allow those sit bones to lift up towards the ceiling. Enjoy it. I love the release down the side of the leg that comes from feet together. It is a harder option, however. Walk your hands out into your down dog. And then hip circle. Left leg, hip circle in the opposite direction. Leg extends up. Thigh to the sky. Center tiger curl, rounding, rounding, rounding. Inhale, thigh to the sky. Exhale, cross body tiger curl. Inhale, thigh to the sky. Exhale, outer body tiger curl. You can do that whole sequence from the knees if you want. Step your foot into the center of your hands now. Come to stand. High lunge. Stretch the top chest up towards the ceiling. Again, you'll notice I'm having a little play around with movement. Shoulders away from the ears. That foot actually steps beside the thumb. Sorry. Thought I was doing warrior 2, but we're actually just repeating the other side now. Bend the back knee and kick. So lunge. You'll notice this time I bring my knee closer to the floor. It is an option, and I really like that option to actually place my knee on the floor and then hinge forward before I come to stand. Now that will just get more work into the glute, but you do have to be mindful that you're using the glute, and that's all about how you're using the front foot. So use it intelligently, explore it, and make sure your muscles are protecting you as you kick here. The knee lifts and the leg extends, hip points in. So remember those exercises at the beginning. Step that foot back, the right foot back. Virabhadrasana 1, warm up first. Releasing calf, your foot, your ankle. Firing up the quadricep a little bit. We're hinging forward and then back upright. Hinge forward, get into the glute, and then back upward. Repeat that. Think your way through it or experience your way through it. Breathe. Keep going. It can be a nice idea to put music on when you're practicing on your own. It can help. Warrior 1, if you find you're not finishing sequences, put music on. Inhale, lift the top chest, shoulders away from the ears. Warrior 1 with Kali Mudra, stretching the front line of the body, releasing back hip flexor. So think of drawing that right hip forward, left hip back more. Lower your knees to the floor. Now our lizard pose. Maybe you stay with hands flat on the floor. Maybe you lower your elbows down. Wise choices. Squeeze your knee in would be step 3. Are we breathing like a tide? In and out. Energy flow. Half split. Stick your bum out. So it may be the invisible element of our practice, but it's just as important. Half split. We're really lengthening our back as we forward fold. Optional. Everything is optional. Maybe I'll stop saying that in the videos. Say it at the beginning. Everything is optional. Breathe. Notice. And then Tuck your toes. Find your plank variation, fist plank with leg lifts. Get the glute squeeze, belly stays in. Try not to hold the breath. Come back into your full or half plank, lifting the left leg this time, maybe. Inhale, full or half up dog. Back to the center, lifting one leg, pausing in our up dog, and then lifting the other leg, pausing in our up dog. Tuck the toes, back to your down dog. Enjoy it. Lower your knees. Then it's like a squat. Send your buttocks back as you kneel and then come back up, but keep your buttocks behind your knees to fire up your quadriceps. So try not to bring your buttocks back directly over the knees. Keep it back more. I know it's challenging. You stick your bum out, you send the sit bones back, then you come up a little. It's a little like a squatting action for the glutes, but from kneeling. Come back to upright, then hinge back, Pilates hinge, back to kneeling. Hinge back, belly in, then come back up. Keep going with that. Lengthen your tailbone down towards your knees. Your sit bones down towards your knees, or, down towards the floor, slightly in front. Your belly engaged. Now hold and pause and come back up. Lean back, hold and pause. Breathe freely. Shoulders away from the ears, then back up. Repeat. Pause. Keep your chin tucked, your spine long, and then come back up. Now send your sit bones back. Option. You can imagine reaching towards your heels. Your sit bones are back. You're leaning back slightly. Or you can actually reach for one heel, then press your hips forward. This is a good way for the back to come into bow pose, half bow. We take hold of the heel, then we press our hips forward. Now taking hold of both heels, sit bones back, and then press the hips forward. It's a non-traditional way, but it really works for the low back for most people. Find your camel pose, not bow pose, and then come back up. Coming into a puppy to release those hip flexors. Your forehead can be on the floor, or even more of a sphinx pose for your elbows. Your hands don't need to be straight. Just release the back before coming into a down dog. Lower your knees. Now hands to the floor and rounding through the spine. It's like a handstand press practice, preparation. We press down, we lift our knees off the floor, rounding through the spine. Now we're not doing handstand today, but we got to start building the strength before we even try. So press down. You might not be going anywhere. That would be okay. That would be usual if you're new to the practice. But just press into the floor and try or think of lifting the knees. I'm just moving my mat again. And of course, I'm being very patient. And then back into your down dog. The right leg draws a big circle, and then it draws a circle in the opposite direction. We bend the top knee, center tiger curl. Inhale, thigh to the sky. Exhale, cross body tiger curl. Inhale, thigh to the sky. Exhale, outer body tiger curl. Right foot to right thumb. Now it's the center of our mat. So we're Virabhadrasana 2, the hands step as we warm up here. The foot steps in the center of the hands. Just notice I'm doing archer's pose with my hands now. Try and draw the belly in. And try and bring the knee out evenly over the toes. It probably wants to knock towards your big toe, like the knee knocking inwards. Try and stretch your inner thigh here by opening the knee out evenly. Reverse your warrior here. Stretch down the sides of the body. Reach with that top hand. And then send your sit bones back behind you, core strength, side plank. So lengthen both sides of the body. Come back to stand. And a side angle prep. Hand on the inside of the thigh, opening the thigh out. Reverse your warrior. We'll repeat that. You can straighten your leg if your thigh is burning too much. And then hand on the inside of the thigh and reverse the warrior. Side angle to reverse plank. You have an option of bringing the hand on or toward the floor. And then extending, so the top arm looking up with your eyes at the top hand. Trikonasana variation, hand on your shin, the inside of the ankle or the floor. Lengthen through your spine, lengthen both sides of the waist. These are standard poses as we come into our Skandasana now that are really good for the body. And then you can stand up between your Skandasanas, side to side, or you can use the floor. So hanging out for a while and then press through the floor is an option before coming back over onto the other side. Otherwise, stand up without using the hands. So pressing down actively through the feet, explore that mindfully for the knees. And I'm just demoing using hands here. Taking hold of your ankles now, keeping the foot on the floor, lunge from side to side. Toes are turned out. More martial arts, releasing down the sides of the legs. Back to face forward. Half split, option 1. Or slide forward into split prep. Bring your hands onto the inside, big toe side of the foot. Stick your bum out, so inner spiral, technically speaking. Stick your bum out, not technical, but that's what it feels like. So sending your sit bones back. And release the back thigh. This is simply a warm-up. Sure, if you do split, you're warmed up enough, come into it. As I mentioned, my hamstrings and my flexibility with my hamstrings is really the biggest work I've done in my yoga practice. So I cajole a lot. Now we come back to plank, lift the right leg, full or half up dog. And then simply tucking the toes, down dog. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Lowering your knees here and back to those push-ups from your hands. They're not really push-ups, but pike plank, pike press. Press through the hands and we lift those sit bones up. We do these type of things in Pilates too. A lot of similarities. Press through the hands, round through the spine, and lift your sit bones to the sky. You can straighten the legs if that's an option for you. Really strong abdominal work here, even if your knees aren't lifting, the effort to do so. Now release your wrists. And you can tuck your toes under. You might need that for your toes now too. Then hands facing forward, down dog. Left side, revolve that hip and then revolve it in the opposite direction. Thigh to the sky, inhale. Exhale, center tiger curl. Inhale, thigh to the sky. Exhale, cross body tiger curl. Inhale, thigh to the sky. Exhale, outer body tiger curl. Now, see center of the hands with your foot. Virabhadrasana 2, warm up. So we're pressing into the outside of the back foot. That is the glory of this pose. The front knee is tracking evenly over the toes. Archer pose variations stretch across the chest, the wrists, the elbows, stretch through your fingers. Now really focus on the outside of the back foot. We're releasing down the side of that leg. We're creating spaciousness in the hip joints. So healthy for hips, knees, and down the sides of the legs when done correctly. Breathe. Reverse warrior. Stretch and reach through your fingers. Pause, but don't pause the breath. Pause the pose, but keep breathing. Breath is energy flow. Core side plank variation. It's like you're drawing the left hip back into the socket and behind you to the back leg. Strange feeling, but gorgeous when done correctly. Hand inside the inner thigh, open your knee, side angle variation. Reverse your warrior. Inhale. Exhale, side angle variation. Press your knee open. Inhale, reach down towards the back calf. You can keep the front leg straight if you need to here as you reverse. Side plank variation, hand on the floor. Draw your left hip back into the socket. Lengthen the left side of the waist as much as possible by drawing the hip to the back heel. Can you think of that? Trikonasana variation, triangle variation. You choose which option suits you. This one is harder for flexibility. Hand on the inside of the leg, harder for core strength. Now half split or split warm-up practice. Inner spiral your legs, or more memorably, stick your bum out as you bring your hand to your big toe side of your foot. So you're sending your sit bones back behind you. And you'll notice you can tell where you need to release the tension there. Down the back thigh. I keep my front foot active. That depends on where you're at, flexibility-wise. You don't want the leg to tighten. Fix your mat if you need to. Back to your plank with the leg lifted. That's your left leg. Full or half up dog. Inhale. Back to the center. Lift one leg. And then the other. Tuck your toes. Belly squeezes. Down dog. Lower your knees. Child's pose. Child's pose, although so simple, is great for your hips and your knees. Can you bring your awareness into your knees and your hips here, just releasing the tension? I'm going to grab a block, but it's only a little prop here. You can grab a book or nothing, but squeeze your inner thighs together if you're using nothing. Roll back, hands on the shoulders, hardest option. Sit up tall. And then exhale, roll back, rounding through the spine, like you're lifting the block into the pelvis. And then sit up tall again. Exhale, rounding back. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, belly squeezes. And then inhale, sit up tall. Keep going and lift the imaginary or real block back up into your pelvis. You're squeezing and lifting up through the inner thighs. It is an inner spiral. And this helps turn on. You'll notice my hands are reaching up now. You can bring them to the floor if you have space. Full roll up. With a hamstring stretch, which means it's a back stretch. Now, as we repeat, exhale, we're rounding. Inhale, hands reach to the sky or overhead. Exhale, rounding, belly squeezes. And then inhale, we're rounding through the spine as we stretch over the legs. Keep going here. Inhale, hands reach overhead. Exhale, rounding up through the spine. Inhale, rounding as we reach over the toes, like diving. The belly draws back, and this is a Pilates exercise. So sometimes it's confusing. We lift the legs here. You can bring your hands out in front or overhead, harder. But navel to the floor, hands to the floor again. Scoot your heels in line with your buttocks and draw some hip circles, lifting the feet off the floor, and reverse those hip circles. So this is a good all-rounder practice. It will release the tension. If you have something like a book or a block, bring your buttocks on a block or even on the highest rung of the block. You can simply lift and lower if you've no block. That's going to work your muscles more for sure. Or you can hang out and bridge with a block. Now step 2 is chakrasana, full wheel. So hands under shoulders. You lift the top chest up towards the ceiling, and I'm just demoing lifting one leg and the other. Now this is only if it's in your practice already. I'm not actually teaching this really today. It's just an option for those who already do it. We would want to know how to protect our spine. Now in lots of other videos, we build the required strength when we do leg lifts from bridge pose, Pilates style. Now, whatever option you're doing, maybe you come back to your supported bridge. It's so nice. If you've no blocks, simply bring your legs up towards the sky. That's in inversion. Or it's really nice to do this variation of a shoulder stand, a yin shoulder stand. Usually we do this in yin. We hang out for 5 minutes with a block, lifting the buttocks higher than the head, higher than the heart. So it's pretty much a true inversion with those things, the feet higher than heart and head. So allow the blood to go back to your face. Again, if you don't have a block or hard books to lift you higher, just have the buttocks on the floor and your legs lifted up. You can rock from side to side if your hammies are tight, your hamstrings. Now lifting that block mindfully, and one vertebra at a time, we come back to the floor. Windshield wiper your legs from side to side, or any other action that feels good for you. Although we are doing a little bit of a cool down here, or what we'd usually do in a yoga class, it's still short enough. I really like to warm up for ages, sometimes even for an hour, and a good half an hour afterwards, but for yoga videos, better. They're around an hour. So find your twist. Release your low back, should feel so nice. Down the side of the hip and knee. So you adjust if it doesn't feel good. The body is pretty wise. And then interlace your hand behind your right thigh. I'm pressing my foot to the sky. My leg is straight. That doesn't mean yours will be. Breathe. And then bend the top knee. Sweep your leg across the body into a twist. Look back over your back shoulder. Now, usually the rule of thumb is for a 60-minute practice, Shavasana would be 6 minutes. Stand at the back of your mat with your hands in Anjali Mudra. Lift and fan out your toes, placing them evenly on the floor. Lift your arches, lift up through your inner thighs, engaging your kneecap